been a few months since my last Blu-ray and Funko Pop haul, so this should be a good one. Kicking things off, we have Darkman, the Shout Factory, Scream Factory edition for it. This one I bought long enough ago. It might have been in a previous version, but I finally was able to watch it this month. I actually watched it a couple of different times and watched some of the special features on it. But if you don't know what this is basically the Sam Raimi superhero movie that he made as an original story 12 years before he did Spider-Man, and it stars Liam Neeson and Frances McDormand. And so it's just an interesting film to exist because it's 12 years before he did Spider-Man. It's an R-rated original comic book story with Liam Neeson before he became Liam Neeson. Adding to that, this one has a fun piece of history tied to me as a child. Despite the fact that I like really gory movies, including things like the Evil Dead films, I actually in real life I'm very squeamish about blood and surgery. I get like these panic attacks and I literally pass out. And so this started around right when this movie came out, and I'd seen like an eye dissected, and I saw plastic surgery on a TV show once, and it just wigged me out and I passed out. So I one day was watching TV and the trailer for this came on, and there's a scene in the movie where a guy's mask is taken off.
He has the power to look like any man.
And it's just a mask. Like that actually happens a lot in the film because that's what the film's all about. So they show him taking a mask off, and this was right after I'd seen plastic surgery, like real plastic surgery. And I had like a panic attack and passed out from a scene in this movie, literally someone just having a mask taken off, and I misinterpreted what I saw and passed out. That's me. Now you know me just a little bit better. Next up, we have Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't remember if this was my favorite movie of last year, but I believe it was my favorite movie of last year. If not, it was way up there on movies that I absolutely love. And so naturally wanted to own the 4K for it. And so finally picked that one up this month. Yeah, it's I love that this movie exists. Next up, here's a bit of an odd one that I picked up, but Dick Tracy. This is, I actually purchased it when I was checking out Darkman and other things like that. And there's this era of comic booky noir films, all with the score from Danny Elfman that came out 1989 through the early 90s. And one of them is Dick Tracy. And I have very fond memories of when this movie came out. Like we tracked the behind the scenes stuff, went to go see it opening weekend. I had all the toys. I bought a bunch of Dick Tracy comic books and stuff like that. But I haven't watched it in a number of years. And it's like so interesting because when Batman 89 came out, it didn't really kickstart a bunch of comic book movie franchises, but actually was very influential. But instead of like learning, like, let's do mainstream comic book heroes, they went with, let's all do all these pulpy 30s and 40s comic strip characters. And so they did the Shadow, Dick Tracy, the Phantom, and they took it in this weird other direction. And so one of those was Dick Tracy. Warren Beatty's the main guy behind it, but like the cast for this movie is nuts. And most of them are like unrecognizable because they're wearing so much makeup. So it's an interesting one if you haven't seen that one. Next up, we've got Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi's follow-up to the Spider-Man trilogy. He wanted to go back and do horror. He'd written the script 10 years before. I hadn't seen this movie until yesterday. I watched it for the first time yesterday, so that was a fun little treat to finally check out a Sam Raimi film of like this director that did all these low-budget horror films, and then after he was on the top of the world and made billions of dollars for a major studio, got to make a horror film where he actually had a budget to kind of do it how he wanted. So fun times. Then we have the Darkman trilogy. After I watched the original Darkman, I was fascinated. Like, there's 2 direct-to-video sequels. I just was interested in checking them out. And so decided to buy them and watch them. It's interesting because they replaced Liam Neeson with Arnold Vosloo, who was the Mummy in the Mummy movies. And he does not at all have the same energy, accent, anything as Liam Neeson. Totally different screen presence. I actually didn't mind them though. I thought they were, like, as someone that likes kind of direct-to-video films, I thought they were fine. It felt like you're watching 4 episodes of Darkman the TV show. If there was actually like a pretty decent 90s, like as someone that watched a bunch of syndicated shows in the 90s, it just reminded me of that era of stuff. And so I actually dug it. I mean, not great. If you're looking for like a deep cut to check out, you're probably not going to like it. But if you like really specific things and have a certain 90s nostalgia for a certain type of storytelling filmmaking, I dug it. Then, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home. Of course, this is what I want. As soon as I was actually out of town and I flew in from, I went to Philadelphia for Fan Expo Philadelphia, spent 5 days with Austin Burke. And while we were driving home from the airport, I was like, Spider-Man No Way Home came out today. Wife and family, we got to go to Best Buy. And so we went in and got like one of the last copies that they had. So apparently the Steelbook sold out months before the movie even came out. So I just have the regular 4K version. But that's fine by me. I love Steelbooks, but I also just love having movies. Next up, for the love of the game, a Sam Raimi baseball movie that, because it stars Kevin Costner, who's done 1,000 baseball movies, it's mostly remembered as a Kevin Costner baseball film, but Sam Raimi is actually the person that directed it. I guess in the window of time where he's trying to get studio legitimacy from his early weird stuff, and then Spider-Man came afterwards, but he had this window where he did like three, 4 studio films. And one of them was a Kevin Costner baseball film. I've never seen it before, so I might watch it tonight or tomorrow night, but we got a Sam Raimi ranking coming next week, so it'll be happening soon. Then we have Ex Machina, a movie I haven't watched yet. I already own it on Blu-ray, but they had the 4K on sale when I was at Best Buy buying Spider-Man No Way Home. And so I was like, it's on sale. I know I want to see it. Why not get the best version of it for when I watch it? So now I have the 4K of it, but haven't seen it yet, so can't comment on it. Then we have Sing 2. This is, my wife loves musicals and stuff, so we saw Sing. My wife watches this first Sing with the kids all the time, and so as soon as we saw the second one in the theater, she got very pumped about it and couldn't wait for the second one to come out on Blu-ray so we could watch it at home. And so once again, when we're buying Spider-Man No Way Home, she was like, Sing 2, we gotta get Sing 2. So we now have Sing 2. Along those exact same lines, Encanto, like every other family that has children under the age of 10, for the last 4 months, Encanto has been on loop in our home, and we've seen it 1,000 times and listened to the soundtrack in our car an additional 1,000 times. And so then we also own it for when the internet goes out or I'm doing a live stream, so I don't let them use the internet. They still need to watch Encanto, so there it is. Next up, we have American Underdog. This is one my wife actually really wanted to go see with me, but the way she couldn't go see it, go to the press screening with me when I went to go see it. And I enjoyed the film, so it's one of those ones that was just like, we've been waiting for the right time to watch it together, since I know it's one that she's excited to check out. Then we have Ghostbusters Afterlife. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It touched on all the right nostalgia buttons, all the right emotional buttons. It was just something new and different with the Ghostbusters franchise. Now, it certainly borrowed some certain plot elements and structures from the original Ghostbusters, but it puts it in such a different context that I didn't mind at all. And it told such an emotional story that was about family, that the fact that it, certain beats are the same, I just didn't care at all. And so another one that as soon as I could buy it, I wanted to check that one out. All right, and then we got one more movie. It's actually a DVD. It's the DVD of Dr. Mordred. The classic Dr. Mordred. Now, if you don't know the backstory of this movie, essentially the guys that wrote and directed this had the rights for Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. We're going to make a Doctor Strange movie, and then they lost the rights. And so then they went, okay, we can't make a Doctor Strange movie, so we'll make a Dr. Mordred movie. So then you have a character that is an awful lot like Doctor Strange in a world that's a lot like Doctor Strange, and tells a story that's very Doctor Strange-like. But just enough elements are changed that it's not actually Doctor Strange, but it's a Doctor Strange movie. It's a direct-to-video, cheap Doctor Strange movie with a different name and slightly different backstory to it. So I watched this one for the first time a couple of days ago, and it's kind of just as bad as you'd think. But if you find a certain charm in early 90s direct-to-video films from this particular studio, Full Moon, there is some charm to it. So I had some fun with it. It's bad. It's very bad. I had some fun with it. Then on the video game front, we have Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, the many times over delayed game that finally came out this month, and my son and I have been making our way through it. More so him than me, but I've joined him when I can, but he's like actively like rushing through it. So he's in The Force Awakens at this point in time. And so played through, starting at episode 1, making his way through. And no, he's on Last Jedi. So almost made it through the full Skywalker saga. And then we bought the full season pass for the extra characters, and we're trying to collect as many of them as possible. And we got the Mando characters, Rogue One, all that fun stuff. So if you like the Lego games and you like Star Wars, this is like the definitive one to get. Last couple things to talk about. I had these Funkos that I actually ordered months and months and months and months and months ago finally come in. And it's one of those ones where I got a box from Amazon. I was like, what on earth is this? Opened it up, and I'd completely forgotten that I ordered them. But it was a Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed Rocky 1 Funkos. I've wanted them for years, but they didn't exist until just the last couple of months. And so literally right as I was about to head to Philadelphia to do a Comic-Con and then run up the Rocky steps, these came in, which is awesome. Final one I wanted to show on here, I bought this Evil Dead 2 shirt with Ash with his signature chainsaw. Got it just in time for my Sam Raimi ranking next week. There you have it. That's what I picked up this month. It was picked up quite a few things because some stuff came out, was preparing for some rankings, and just went on a buying spree when I was at Best Buy. So had a good bit of fun. Let me know what you picked up this month, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.